This is the all-new DS9, and for anyone tuning in expecting a classic Star Trek reboot, I have bad news for you. However, if you're here for a handsome flagship executive saloon from the luxury arm of the space-age sounding Stellantis group, then you're in luck. In this video, we'll take a look at what the new model brings to the posh saloon segment and what it'll need to offer in order to compete with rivals like the BMW 5 Series and the Audi A6. And don't worry, I'm running out of Interstellar references already. But before we get into the details, please subscribe to the Auto Express channel and make sure you've hit the bell icon to receive notifications as soon as new videos go live. Let's start with the styling then. While classic DS models had a distinct air of sci-fi about the looks, this one is altogether more conventional. The front end is dominated by the now standard DS family grille, complete with a diamond mesh insert. It's flanked by LED headlamps embellished with running lights that cascade towards the bottom of the front bumper. It's all capped off with a liberal use of chrome effect trim, on the expansive grille surround, on the mesh, and even on the central strip up the bonnet. In profile, the DS9 is long, sleek and dramatic, and draws the eye to a couple of really neat details at the rear. Those orange lights high up on the C-pillar are a nod to the original DS design icon, but weirdly they aren't indicators, only light markers. The main functions are housed in traditional taillights, whose intricate jewel-like detailing must go down as some of the most beautiful of any new car. Overall though, there's perhaps not quite enough of the classic French weirdness that we'd like to see. Pop the flush door handles to step inside, and you're greeted with a cabin that both looks and feels a world away from any of the typical German competition. The design is similar to that of the DS7, with lots of fancy looking switchgear and a huge central touchscreen infotainment system. Buyers will have several of what DS calls interior inspirations to choose from. Bastille and Rivoli themes use leather trim, Performance line gets Alcantara, and Opera gets the most liberal use of soft Napa leather and the brand's signature watch strap pattern on the seats. Whichever you go for, it's a refreshing change from the dull shades you get in some rivals. The luxurious touches carry on through to the back too. There's acres of space for rear seat passengers to stretch out, while the seats themselves are available with heating, cooling and massaging functions. Under the skin, the DS9 uses a well-tried mechanical layout. It sits on the Stellantis Group EMP2 platform, which among other things is used by the brand's SUV, the DS7 Crossback, the Peugeot 3008 and even the Citroen Berlingo. In this layout it's most closely related to Peugeot 508, but the DS9 is 180mm longer. Much of that extra metalwork is added between the front and rear axles, which goes to explain the DS9's generous rear legroom. The modern DS range might lack the ingenious hydropneumatic suspension of the original, but there is still a couple of tech tricks employed that try to replicate that silky ride. DS Active Scan suspension works with adaptive damping and a camera which scans the road ahead for bumps, adjusting the rate of response to smooth things out. Extra tech comes in the form of level 2 semi-autonomous DS Drive Assist, plus automatic parking assistance and even a night vision camera. Under the bonnet, there's 3 plug-in hybrid options alongside a single entry-level petrol. That's a 1.6 litre turbocharged unit with 222 brake horsepower and an 8-speed automatic gearbox. Above that sits the first E-Tense plug-in hybrid. It's got the same overall power, but achieves it with the help of a 108 brake horsepower electric motor, an 11.9 kWh battery, which gives a 30-mile electric range only, and CO2 emissions of 33 grams per kilometre. These models will be joined later by 2 more PHEVs, one with 247 brake horsepower and another with a hefty 355 brake horsepower and 4-wheel drive. Unlike some rivals, however, the DS9 lineup is 4-cylinder only. UK prices for the DS9 start from £40,060 for the non-hybrid version in performance line trim, while the 222 brake horsepower plug-in hybrid will cost up to £49,200. Prices are still to be confirmed for the higher power hybrids, but expect the top end model to be a significant jump above that figure. So how does that compare to its rivals? Well, the BMW 5 Series range kicks off with the 520 SE. With 184 brake horsepower, it's 38 brake horsepower down compared to the DS9, but it starts from £39,275. The least expensive 530e plug-in costs £48,825, but it fits in between the 2 most potent DS9 E-Tense cars with 288 brake horsepower. So what do you think? With the DS9 so closely matched to its rivals on price, would you take one over the Audi A6 or the BMW 5 Series? Let us know in the comments below.